Hello, you have entered the Bravura House studio. You're here today because you've got a frayed string or perhaps a broken string, or you just need a new set of strings on your violin and you want to know how to do that. First of all, you always want to do one string at a time. If we take off all four strings, your sound post could fall over and that's not a happy sound. So one string at a time. This violin needs a new A string. The A string is frayed. I have a few tools here that I'm going to use to help me tune. I have a pencil. You might need something like a ballpoint pen or something to help get the ball end of the string into the tailpiece. Sometimes they're hard, sometimes not. You need perhaps some peg dope or paste. There are kinds. This is by Hill. Perastro makes one. There's different types of soaps that you can use as well, even a regular bar soap if you don't have a specialized product. And that's because when our string is off, it's a good time to just check your peg to make sure that it's moving smoothly. You need a tuner, and your tuner tuned to A440. And of course, you need a good set of strings. Sometimes strings have a ball end, and sometimes they have a loop end. So you need to identify things like that, which one that you have. You also want to look at the color to match up to make sure you're putting the right string in the right place. If you're not paying attention, you put a G string on the A spot, you're going to break the string. So you want to pay attention to those. And different brands are colored differently from the tail piece end and the scroll end. So you want to pay attention to that to know that you're putting it on the correct way. So before you change your string, you want to just make sure that your bridge is straight so that you can tell if there's a problem there. So if you're looking at your violin sideways, you want to look at this line right here and compare it with this line, the back edge of the bridge. The back edge of the bridge is not carved, so you need a perpendicular angle right here. The front edge of the bridge has been carved, so it's thick at the bottom, skinny at the top. So when you look at your bridge sideways, it actually looks like it's leaning a little bit, even if it is straight. So compare that edge with this line, and you should be able to see that this violin, the bridge is leaning forward a little bit. So I'm going to correct that, and that's really something for another video, but I'm going to correct that when I change the string. If your violin has fine tuner tailpiece, you want to unscrew that now. This is a good opportunity. When you want to take your string out, just slip your thumb under the string, loosen the peg, and pull it out. Sometimes the string can get, if it's broken especially, it can get wrapped around itself in the peg box, and you might need to use needle nose pliers to pull that out, and then take the ball out and throw it away. All right, now this is our opportunity to take your pencil and just lubricate the little groove on the string. Leave a little artwork there and on the nut. And then check your peg. And if it's a little noisy or a little tough to move that, you can use your peg dope if you have peg dope, or you can use the pencil. You can usually see where the peg is shiny. That's where it's touching the peg box. So just a little bit of graphite from the pencil or the peg dope, which is usually graphite. And that just helps to make it move nice and smoothly. So now the violin's all ready to put a new string on. Strings are sold with a ball end or with a loop end. So there are different thoughts on whether you put the ball end in first or the loop end in. I find it depends on the tailpiece. So this particular type, sometimes if I feed the ball in there first and then I go to wind the string on the other end, sometimes the ball falls out when I'm halfway done. So I just prefer to do the string end and do the ball halfway through. But sometimes the winding on the string is hard to fit into the slot where you want to change the string. And you might need to push it in, so a ballpoint pen or something. This is a needle file. And you can use that to help push the ball into place and then pull it tight like that. Now the A string is a little bit harder than the other strings because when you're feeding the string into the hole, doesn't have a lot of room behind the peg in the peg box up there. So normally it's nice to feed a little extra string through the peg and then wrap around itself. Can't really do that with the A string. So when I tighten, you should be able to see just a little bit of the A string sticking out. The strings on the right, the A and the E, you want to wind the string towards the peg box. So I like to put it on the left side of the string first, and the whole time you want to keep your string fairly tight. Not tight enough that you pull it out of the hole, but you want to keep tension on there like a good fisherman. And as you're turning, you're winding the string towards the peg box. Eventually we want it right tight against the peg box. So I'm just going to go about halfway, and then I will feed the ball in, keeping tension on the string. Feed the ball into the slot. You can use your thumb. It's a little bit tricky, so you want a good position where you can support the violin. So right now I'm seated and the violin's on my knee. And while you're turning the peg, you want to be pushing in at the same time. Okay? Pegs are notorious for slipping, and the biggest culprit is that they're not fitted properly. This sort of helps you with that issue, even if your pegs are a little bit rough. So I'm going to support the left side of the neck with my left hand while I'm turning and pushing in at the same time. So it's like a corkscrew. And you can push fairly hard as you're turning until you get the string in. And I don't want to go anywhere near the actual pitch until I have my tuner. E strings come often with a little vinyl tube on it, and you just want to look at your bridge to make sure. Sometimes a bridge has a patch, a little piece of vellum, or a little patch of some kind underneath the E string that prevents the string from cutting into the wood. If you don't have one of those on your bridge, then you want to use this tube. Of course, if you do, that you can take that off. If there is a vellum there, take that tube off the end of the string before you wind it on. And the one thing that I see that happens most often with these, people put them in the center. And the problem with that is now you have some tube that's sticking out in front of the bridge, and just a little, not a whole lot, doesn't make a huge difference, but it is touching the string in the vibrating part of the string. We don't want that. So you want to make sure that that tube is adjusted so that it's behind, it's on top of the bridge and behind. So I've got the string through the hole, some sticking out, and as you start winding the string on, you want to trap it underneath the string like that, and 2 or 3 winds, and then put your ball in. Keep the tension on all the time, and that will keep your string in place, and then wind it against the peg box to keep it secure. Push and turn. You want to make sure that your string is lined up in the groove here, and it's lined up in the bridge as well. Now I'm going to put my tuner on. You want to make sure it's on A440. And you're going to hear hopefully that note I'm plucking is way below that. So I'm just going to pluck constantly. When people break strings, it's because they put the pitch too high. So you're not going to break a string if you're below the note. So you just want to keep plucking, pushing and turning. And now it's getting really close. And in the first few days, that's going to go out of tune a lot, so you're going to have to retune that on a regular basis. And there we have it. When you're finished, you want to make sure that your bridge is straight. The whole tuning process, especially after you put new strings on, you can just pull the tip of the bridge forward, and if you don't fix it, it can actually warp your bridge or even break a bridge, or it can fall over. So you want to make sure that that is straight, and this is looking good. So it's a little bit out of tune, it's stretched already, and get used to it because that's the way it's going to be for the next few days. Lots of practice, that will help to break in the new string. So if you have any questions, make sure that you post them and I'll get to you as soon as I can. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day.